Hey, we're Matt and Julie Beemer with Jonathan and Elizabeth Beemer, and we are celebrating 30 years of living and ministering overseas. And to do that, we're going to be sharing stories both today, Club 1040 Day, and throughout the year coming. We'll be dropping different stories, different podcasts, and things like that to show you how your investment in Club 1040 is making an impact throughout the Middle East and North Africa, and to talk about how by the year 2030, we want to see that impact expand and continue in a strong and more quick way. So make sure you don't miss out, and also help us out by sharing these with your friends as well. Spread the word, because the more we get this word out, the more we can do, the more quickly we can do it together. God bless. So this is pretty awesome. 30 years of celebrating what God's done, adventures in the life of Matt and Julie Beemer and Elizabeth and Jonathan, or John Beemer as he's commonly referred to, although his mom and I only refer to him. You refer to him as Jonathan too, right?
Jonathan, yeah.
Yep, it's just Jonathan. So it's Jonathan Beemer for the podcast anyway. Yeah. So we want to welcome you in to hear some of the stories. We're celebrating 30 years of living and ministering overseas. And as we do that, we want to pull back the curtain a little bit, invite you into some of the fun adventures that we've had over these 30 years. And the goal is to get 30 stories to celebrate 30 years. We'll see how we do with that. So we're here in Sweeter Studios, and the owner of Sweeter Studios is here to host us. And so tell us a little bit about where we're at and what we're doing.
Yeah, so recently, as you guys know, I opened a studio/event space in the heart of Broken Arrow, the Rose District. And so, yeah, basically people can come in, they can record podcasts just like we're doing today, have events, whatever you want to do. The space is open, and it's a nice, easy space to come in and make your own. So, yeah.
But you didn't start as a businesswoman. You started with her saying, "Matt Beemer, you're so cute."
I guess so.
So tell us a little bit about how you and I met, Julie.
So I always like to tell my story is that...
Yeah, that's a better place to start. Yeah. Go all the way to the beginning.
All the way back.
Yeah.
So my mom, she was a divorced mom. She had my sister who was 2 and I was 4, and she was pregnant with my brother. And a man and his wife came knocking at our door and invited us to church. You know, they could have been having a chill night. They could have been having a date night. And they took that time to come invited us to church. They didn't know that behind that door, there was a little girl that was going to go around the world and tell people about Jesus. And so I'm so grateful for them. My mom said yes. She jumped straight into that, and she started taking us to church every time the door was open. Everything started from there. You know, she became a Sunday school teacher. She became choir director. She doesn't even sing. And she just jumped wholeheartedly in there. And that wonderful church just supported us. They came around us and just took us in as their family. And so it kind of all started there. She started telling me about missionaries. She started giving us missionary stories. We started seeing real life missionaries. And from that point on, I think my heart was connected with missions. I was a little bit scared because I didn't know what that meant. But she continued to call me her little missionary. I don't think she knew the power of her words. But she started
missionary to Africa, right?
She was, yeah, she spoke that, and I was scared to go to Africa. But later, whenever I became like 14 years old, I remember committing my full life to Christ and saying, "I'll go anywhere you want and I'll do whatever you want." And then I came here and I met you walking down the street.
Yeah, but before that happened, tell us a little bit about how you got to Bible college, and because you had won scholarships. Mm-hmm. You can talk about that if you want. How did you win those scholarships? And then
how did you?
And then you went off to college, and in college you actually pivoted and you went into like a discipleship program with Phoenix First Assembly, the Master's Commission. And you could talk a little bit about what you did there, and then how you heard to come to Tulsa.
Yeah. Well, I always knew that there was something significant that I wanted to do for the Lord. I didn't know how to do it. Pageants came along in our local hometown, my little pig farming cotton community, and I became Miss Graham County. But I knew that I wanted to do something for the Lord.
But what was your prayer?
My prayer?
Yeah. What do you never want to become?
Oh, I would go to the altar in our local church and say, please don't let me be a pig farmer's wife and stay in this community. So that was like my deepest prayer. So I was looking for any way to go out of the community, which was it was a precious community, but I did not want to, because my pastor was a pig farmer. And so I did not want to be a pig farmer's
I'd be praying
wife.
the same prayer, Mom.
So I went into pageants, was always looking for that way to, do something significant for the Lord. And one opportunity came by, and it was to do work, actually be a volunteer at Master's Commission with Tommy Barnett. It was Phoenix First Assembly. And so it was a discipleship program. I got involved
Those
with
people
that.
that aren't familiar with that church is probably one of the largest churches in America at the time.
It was amazing.
Yeah, maybe 10,000 people or something like that. Massive church doing incredible outreaches.
Yeah, in fact, we had a bus route as on a Saturday, and I think there was over 5,000 kids that we would go pick up. And I had my own route in some of the hardest areas in Phoenix with the Laos people. And so I would be able to go and pick up a busload of kids. bring
Laos
them
from Southeast Asia.
Asia. Yeah. So I was starting to become aware of different cultures and getting a heart for them. I was trained to be a white-faced clown. Did you guys know that?
What was
That sounds terrifying, actually.
yeah. But
It was
this is the
amazing.
perfect clown name. Do you know what her clown name is?
I know.
Polly Pure in Heart was my clown name.
She's an
Interesting.
official certified clown.
I don't
am.
like that at all, actually.
But isn't that perfect for your mom?
It
Polly
is.
Pure in Heart?
Pure in heart.
Pure in heart. But we were able to learn how to minister the gospel. And I, as a white-faced clown, you're not allowed to speak. You're only allowed to, demonstrate.
That's even more scary.
It was amazing. It was an opportunity to love people. And I loved, demonstrating love and hugs and getting to know children. We used balloons. We used tons of other things. But anyways,
And you kind of look a little bit like a Raggedy Ann.
yeah, it was,
type,
I didn't look like,
You weren't scary like
Scary.
clown
Well,
face
I
scary.
feel like
I
you're trying
was
to make it better,
cute.
but no, that's still pretty scary.
But that's something
whatever
that we didn't
works.
know.
Yeah.
I thought I've shown you pictures of that.
I don't know, maybe a long time
I
ago.
do
but that's
remember-
hidden deep down
Yeah.
somewhere.
I remember you saying that you're really good at making balloon animals at one point.
Yeah.
That probably ties from that.
But anyways, it gave us opportunities to minister in so many different ways. Master's Commission was an incredible way for me to start learning how to minister the gospel to people. But I still felt like I needed more of the word.
And then after Masters, you went back to your hometown.
I became a youth pastor. It was one of the largest youth groups in the whole entire city. We had about 100 youth people coming to my youth group.
And how big is the town?
It's small.
Well, yeah, your like graduating class was
5.
yeah.
But still,
I know
So
that was,
100 is a lot then.
It was a Christian school, so it wasn't the public school, but it was a very small community, a farming community, cotton fields. Yeah.
And then why did you kind of had to leave
Yeah.
town?
Well, there's a whole lot of areas that we're getting involved here, but just family situations triggered. There was a lot of things going on because
There
my
were
family,
threats.
yeah,
What are you talking about?
one of the young persons in the youth group threatened me as the youth minister, as a female youth minister. And so my
Young 20-something
Yeah.
single female youth minister with a group of 100 plus that meets literally impacting the entire town.
Yeah.
Which was what kind of town? It's predominantly Mormon, right?
Oh, yes. It's
Yeah.
it's a very Mormon community. The community college that I went to was a very Mormon community or college. So, yes, it was predominantly a religious area. But this young man threatened me. And so it really alerted my family. And they were just like, we do not agree that you're doing this. Tension happened in my family. There was already a lot of dysfunction, and it was quite a chaotic family that I come from. We
Which
won't
not
get
a lot
into
of
that.
people know that.
Yeah,
You
And no
grew up-
one would assume
Yeah,
that
no.
too, which is something that's really powerful.
Yeah.
yeah. There was, my mom had remarried, and she remarried, and any step family is going to be difficult. I don't care who you are, but whenever you're getting somebody that is full of anger and not joyful at all. And adding that to 3 children and a mom, there's always going to be conflict there. But it was very tension filled in our family. And so I was looking for ways to go and get out of that community, out of my away from my mom and away from that tension in my home.
I want to highlight something. Your mom is amazing.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
Yeah, she, as a single parent with 3 small children, a baby really, she went and got her cosmetology license. She then worked herself into the place where she bought her own hair salon, and then worked to the place where she actually bought and started a beauty college that became like attached to the local college, the local
Community college.
Yeah, 2-year college, and then basically she forced all her kids to get their cosmetology licenses.
Every cousin, every person that we knew,
Even your stepdad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we all benefited from that because we got haircuts and free highlights since we were like 2.
Manicures and pedicures. Yes,
Yeah.
that was part of our life.
Yeah.
And she actually became one of the biggest funders in the local community to the church. And she helped to fund the churches. And so she, became
She was a significant investor in the
Yeah.
building projects that built a big portion of the school and the church buildings.
churches.
Yeah.
The Christian school. So she did that. She then got married to somebody. And then that's kind of when all of the,
You were like 16 or something.
14.
So how did you end up getting to Rhema then?
Okay, so whenever I was there as a youth pastor, there was so many crazy things going on. And one day I was just praying, and I had a dream about red gowns, graduation gowns.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And at the same time, the word Oklahoma dropped in my heart. And
Just out of nowhere.
out of nowhere, whenever you hear somebody tell a story about the penny dropped, it was like Oklahoma came in my heart. And I knew I had to go to Oklahoma. I was thinking,
So where did she go next? This is the funny part.
Yeah.
She drove to California.
Probably because Oklahoma kind of goes with pig farmers in a lot of people's minds.
well, to me, it was the promised land. But I went to California thinking, I can get a job and get money. But as soon as I got there, after hearing the word Oklahoma straight from the Lord, I went to California.
A little bit of a Jonah running away
Yeah.
from
That's why you're so quick to obey now.
I know. And I hadn't told my mom where I was. It was quite crazy. And I got to California with some friends, and immediately I knew I was in the wrong place. And I literally the next morning woke up and started driving to Oklahoma.
So you lasted how many days in California?
One day, yeah. But I knew of this one girl who was living at this place called Rhema. And she had been in Master's Commission with me when we were going through Master's Commission, and she had come to Rhema. I had no idea what she was. I just knew she was in Oklahoma. So I called, and she said, come to Oklahoma and stay with me. And that's kind of what started it all.
And she lived in student housing, right?
She happened to live in the top of student housing. There was
So
a guy.
before you were a student, you were living in student housing.
Which perfectly explains you, though, the fact that you would just call up a random person that you just kind of knew.
It's true.
And you're like, hey, can I stay with you?
And she was so gracious to me. It was in the summer too, so it was really good. So there was a guy that lived below her, and he happened to work at Kenneth Hagin Ministries, and he brought me an application. His name was Byron, and he brought me this application, and I thought, okay, I'll fill it out. He even took it and handed it in for me, and it wasn't long before they called me for an interview. And I thought, I'm going to go in there and just ace this interview. I'd done interviews in the pageants. And I went in there, and they had me do a typing test. And
They did? Oh, wait, to work there or to go
work
to Okay,
there,
that makes
to
more
work
sense.
there.
I was
to
like,
do
to
a
go to
typing
school.
test. Yeah. And so I totally bombed the typing. This was way before you just knew how to type. Now you guys type with nothing, no, just as it's normal. But for us, I failed the typing test, and they were getting ready to take me in and tell me that, you bombed the typing test. And the lady who was
the job was
interviewing
for
me,
data processing, so typing was pretty important.
typing is important. But the lady who was interviewing me, she started crying. And then I started crying. And she looked at me and she says, I just think you're supposed to be here. She says, let me have you interview with another lady. And that other lady was the head of the ministry, Lynette Hagin. And she hired me that day. She must have saw something inside of me that I'm so grateful to them. And so that's kind of, then I started going to the Bible college there, kept on working
So
at Kenneth Hagin Ministries.
You were living in student housing. You were working at the Bible college. And then you thought, maybe I should go here.
Yeah.
And
That's how it
they have
goes.
red gowns when you graduate.
I had no idea how
Crazy.
significant the red gowns would be for me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But then that's where I happened to meet you, Matt
Yeah.
Beemer.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us, hearing some of the stories, and letting us pull back the curtain a little bit and invite you into our family adventures over these last 30 years. It's because of you that Clifton 40 has been able to do anything that we've done. Thank you so much.